So this video is going to be my gym workouts to help with my running. So this first exercise is a single leg knee drive. It helps your hips, your hip flexors, your knee, and you're obviously kind of recreating the sort of drive motion that you create with running. So yeah, you want to get one leg up on the box or whatever you're using, and then, you know, kind of in a controlled manner, bring the other leg up. You can do it with weights or without weights, and you don't need to be using heavy weights either. Follow that. I tend to do this one just after, so this one is a good one for the knees. So it's kind of like a single leg squat. You bring one leg down beyond the ramp or box that you're using, so you're working one knee at a time, and yeah, it's just really good for strengthening the knee. I started doing this when I had a knee problem in the Manchester Marathon, and ever since then I haven't had a single problem since. So I do this one maybe once or twice a week, and yeah, definitely see the benefits. Next up is kind of a bit of, it probably works the core a bit, but it's mainly for ankle stability and strength. So you're just bringing a medicine ball or a kettlebell or whatever suits, basically across the body. You're standing on one foot at a time and just slightly raise the other. Do about 8 reps on each side, and yeah, it's just getting those ankle muscles used to kind of having to twist and turn and take on different loads pretty much. So next up is going to be pogos, pretty common for runners to do. You can do this anywhere in the gym, at home, in your garden, in the sitting room, anywhere. I lay down a little resistance band and yeah, basically go side to side, 1 foot at a time. Basically prepares your Achilles, your calf for the force that you're going to be landing on while running. So it's just kind of a little stimulus, get the body and legs used to it. And any niggles I've ever had with my Achilles, this tends to help. So I do about 40 side to side on each foot, and then I go 40 front and backwards each foot, just to get a different range of motions. Yeah, just to work all those little muscles in the lower legs and get them used to the different range of motions. So next up, I've quite bad hip flexors, well, my left one anyway, so I do this little stretch in the middle of all these exercises. I can more feel it when I'm doing it on the left hand side, but yeah, basically try to get a roughly 90-degree angle in your knee there, and just side to side. I do about 5 seconds on each leg, and I do somewhere between kind of 15 to 20 reps, somewhere along that, depends kind of how tight the hip flexor is feeling. But yeah, this tends to loosen it up after 1 or 2 times doing this. I try to do this a couple of times a week, yeah, maybe 3 or 4 times if I can. It's pretty easy to fit in, only takes a minute or 2. Helps me anyway. So I do a few things to strengthen and kind of loosen up my hip flexor, and when I do them, there's never really any pain. It's only when I go a period of time without doing it that I do have pain, so it shows that what I'm doing here works. So next up, I get a resistance band, basically lie flat, and one leg at a time, you're just driving your knee up towards your chest. Kind of works on your drive, but also simultaneously again helps that hip flexor. So like I said, I do have a weaker left one, it struggles a bit more, so I tend to do a couple more, 2 to 4 more reps on my left one, depending on how bad it's feeling. So I usually do 8 on the right and somewhere between 10 to 12 on the left. Next up, I do a glute bridge, so single leg. This is a good one for runners. It's something that I kind of have to work on. It really targets the hamstring, so you kind of want to be tense in your hamstring as you're doing this, and you'll really feel whether you have one hamstring that's weaker than the other, which can create imbalances and is what has caused me injuries in the past. So it's a really good one for targeting the hamstring, strengthening it. And obviously if you have a weaker one, again, my left side is weaker, so I do again 2 to 4 more reps on my left side, and yeah, it just helps that instability. So then this next one, it was a different session, but I try mix it up through the week. So again, I'm targeting hip flexors here, so stand up on a box, get a kettlebell, something to hold on to as well, and you're just sort of driving that knee back up, and you really feel this in the hip flexors. The kettlebell doesn't have to be a heavy weight at all, but yeah, if it's feeling too easy, you can obviously move up weights. So again, mainly to benefit my left one, but I don't want the right one to become weaker. So yeah, I'm kind of doing a few extra reps on my left one. Follow this up with a sort of more of a flexibility thing with the hip flexor. So get a kettlebell on the floor, just lie down on the mat, and basically just lifting your leg over, but you're kind of lifting through the hip flexor, so you're not just lifting your leg up, you're making sure that you're actually lifting from the bottom of your, or the top of your leg, where the hip is, and make sure you get right over that kettlebell. It's good to have something consistent so that you're having to get the same height on both legs. And again, a couple extra reps on my left side. So another exercise to target my hamstrings is the Nordic hamstring curl. So the kind of ramp thing you see there kind of stops me getting the full range of motion, but I sort of use my hamstrings to pull myself back up to kind of compensate for that. So you want to slowly let yourself down, and you want to be in control for as low as you can get before coming back up. You can just push yourself back up with your hands if you're kind of new to it, but as you get advanced, if you can pull yourself back up through your hamstrings, you're gonna massively benefit and reduce your chance. So then it's on the core, so we're going elbows to knees here. Get your legs as straight as you can. I'm not flexible enough to get straighter than this at the moment, but yeah, opposite elbow to opposite knee. Basically make sure there's contact. I do these until I can feel it in my abs, then I try to do 10 extra reps. So usually kind of comes out somewhere between 80 and 100 depending on the day, but you don't need to be doing that many. Once you feel it in your abs, you're obviously getting a benefit there, so it's different for every person. So next up, I'm going to go straight legs. Obviously again, meant to be straight, I'm not that flexible, but up above chest and back down without touching the ground, so that we keep the tension constant. And yeah, you'll just feel this in your abs if you keep the constant tension up rather than touching the ground each time. Follow that up by reverse crunch. So yeah, just bringing knees in towards chest. Do about 15 of these as well as 15 of the straight legs. Kind of follow that up with a dead bug, so it's opposite arm and opposite leg, straighten them out, keep off the ground. Again, constant tension, and by the end of this you'll definitely be feeling something in your abs. So I tend to do 15 on each side, and yeah, it's just basically just knock them out. You feel it towards the end, but it's not too bad. Follow that up with Russian twists. So you can do this weighted or without weight. I'm doing it with a weight here. Just side to side, and keep your feet off the ground. Next is these kettlebell pull throughs. So you kind of want it around your kind of belly button below you, and you're just pulling side to side. Engage your core as you're doing it, and you depends on the weight you're using, but you will feel as you pull through the tension on your abs again. So this is a pretty good one, but you want to make sure it's at the right part of your body. Then this one's a simple one. It's just heel taps. Keep your shoulders off the ground. Makes it a bit tougher, or if you're new, you can have your shoulders on the ground and just go side to side. But yeah, just keeping a bit of tension on, but a bit of a breather at the same time before I go into a plank. So basically I try to do a 2-minute plank, be different for everyone else. Once you start feeling tension, try to go a bit longer, and that's how you kind of improve with your plank. So yeah, as I say, I'm doing 2 minutes here. I tend to check it on the watch, and then the last few seconds I keep checking the watch, just waiting for it to be over really. But yeah, not much else I can say. Just keep your core engaged for this one, and yeah, set a time in your head and just aim to get there. Make it an ambitious time. If you make it an easy time, you're going to stop then. So yeah, I try set ambitious times, and I want to be struggling at the end. If you're not struggling at the end, you're just making it too easy for yourself. So after that, I go straight into 6 inches off the ground. I'll see, don't know exactly 6 inches, but keep your head up for this one, and it'll make it a bit harder. Or if you're kind of new to it, you can put your head and shoulders back on the ground and just lift your legs up, and you'll still feel tension. It's just a bit less intense than what I'm doing here. So obviously I've built up to doing this with my head and shoulders off the ground, and then just follow that up with a few reps on the ab wheel. So I'll do usually 2 or 3 reps of this set, depending how I'm feeling. And then yeah, that's pretty much plyo and core.